Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I am Amy from Neurotica Mom Bakes. We're gonna jump right into it today. We are making the most delicious banana coconut bread. This is my new favorite, banana bread. I tweaked it a little bit. We're adding some coconut, and if you love coconut and banana bread, it's just 2-in-1 and it's divine. Okay, let's get going. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get 4 average size bananas. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about why they're so black. So my bananas weren't quite ripe yet. And you want to use really overripe bananas because the sugar concentrates more in the overripe bananas. And so you'll just get a much sweeter taste. And also the texture is better. They will mash a lot easier. But if you don't have overripe bananas, all I did is I just got like a baking sheet, lined it with some foil, preheated my oven to 300 degrees, and then I baked them in there for 15 minutes, and it was ready to go. I let them cool, and they're ready to be peeled and mashed. I actually don't even need to mash these first, which is kind of a bonus because sometimes that can be a pain to do. I'm just gonna cut them into big chunks. So there's 2. So we're doing 4 kind of average size bananas. If they're really large, do 3. If they're, sometimes you get the pack of like really small ones, go ahead and do 5. 1 cup of sugar, and I'm going to get the whisk attachment first. You can use the paddle, it'll just take a little bit longer. And I'm just going to mix this until it's all nice and smooth and creamy. The bananas are mashed and incorporated into the sugar. All right, while that's mixing, I have a ½ cup of unsalted butter that I'm going to get it almost melted. You want it very, very, very soft. Ah, yes, that's perfect. There's a few chunks left in there, and that's great because you want just, a few little pieces of the banana in there. Makes it so good. And I will switch to the paddle attachment now. Okay, so I've got my butter here, and first I'm going to crack 2 eggs into here. I know I'm breaking my own rule of cracking them into another bowl and then pouring them in, but okay, and then you can see how we've got some chunks in there, but it's mostly melted, very soft. That goes in as well. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I know this sounds weird, but a teaspoon of almond extract. The coconut and almond go really well together, and this bread is not going to taste like super almondy, I promise. It just lifts the flavor of the coconut, and then there's just this extra, like, why is this so good factor. So we're gonna blend this together. Okay, now I'm going to measure out. We need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, measured the proper way. If you've seen my previous videos, you know to not scoop the flour. If you're weighing with grams, it's 120 grams per cup. But if you're using cup measurements, just fluff your flour with your spoon and then lift it in to the measuring cup. That way you don't get too much flour and have overly dry cakes or breads or cookies. So there's 1 cup. There's your flour. And 1 teaspoon each of baking soda and salt. So we have a teaspoon of the baking soda and a teaspoon of salt. Okay, we're just going to mix this until it's just combined. Don't overmix this. Okay, it's not even fully mixed, but I'm gonna do the rest by hand because I don't wanna overdo it. Overmixing will create a dense cake with a weird texture. Pull this bowl off. Now I'm going to get 1 cup of shredded flaked coconut. It's sweetened. So it's the sweetened flaked coconut. We're going to measure out 1 cup. Although I'm sure you could do unsweetened. It would taste just fine because you've got lots of sugar and the sweetness of the bananas in there wouldn't make a huge difference. Okay, we're gonna measure out 1 cup. And then I'm gonna pour that in and then finish combining this by hand. Scraping down the bowl, getting to the bottom of the bowl. I've just got this just combined together, and I'm going to get my pans, just 2 loaf pans, and I'm going to spray them really well. Now everyone kind of has their own method of how they like to prep their pans. And before I was doing some cooking spray and then some flour and then some more cooking spray. And last time I did, I forgot to do that, and I just did the cooking spray and it actually worked better. But you feel free to prep your pans however. These are like the dark non-stick pans. Prep your pans however you usually do them or you think necessary, but the cooking spray was just fine for these. And I'm just gonna eyeball it, but I'm gonna put half of the mixture in each pan. Oh, I forgot to tell you, an optional ingredient, you could add some pecans or walnuts, chopped pecans or walnuts. So I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees, which is 177 degrees Celsius, and they're going to go in for about 40 to 50 minutes, just depending on your oven. And just make sure your rack is on the middle rack. It'll just create the most even heat. So what I've started doing with my banana breads or any kind of sweet bread, like dessert bread like this, is I feel like the tops get done a lot quicker, tops and the sides, than the center does. So I've just started laying a piece of tin foil over the top gently while it's baking. You don't need to like seal it in or anything. And then while it's baking, it'll just keep the tops from burning while the center finishes cooking. I'm gonna start with 40 minutes and then we'll do the toothpick test and then we'll go from there. Okay, look at these beautiful loaves of bread, and yes, they came out perfectly out of my loaf pan, so I just kind of loosened to the side. I waited about 10 minutes. You don't want to take them out sooner than 10 minutes, and you don't want to leave them in a long time. Too soon, they'll fall apart because they're so hot. And if you leave them in too long, then they will stick to the pans much more. So I kind of loosened it and I flipped the pan over and just tapped the bottom, and they came right out, and they're beautiful. And let's slice into this and give it a taste. Just, oh, that, so you can see the coconut and the pieces of, oh, and there's still steam rising off that. Pieces of banana. Okay, I don't know about you, and this is delicious plain, don't get me wrong, but I love loads of butter on my banana bread, my pumpkin bread, I mean any type zucchini bread. I love loads of butter. Is that weird? Well, let's try a piece without the butter. Yeah, remember how we added that little bit of almond extract? You can't, it's not almondy flavor. So don't be afraid of that. It just bumps up the coconut and just gives it this, I don't know, this unique, delicious flavor. Now let's do it the proper way and add a whole bunch of, whoops. It's really warm, so it's melting off. Butter. Am I crazy? Do you like it with lots of butter? Okay, yeah, that's delicious. I wish you could smell this from here. I can't stop eating. Sorry, it's that good. You gotta try this one. And then if you wanna see more recipes like this, just subscribe to my channel and I will see you next time.